The year is 1892. Deep within the shadowed, forgotten stretches of the Pacific Northwest, where ancient forests meet the restless sea, lies Widow's Creek, a desolate lumber town swallowed by towering, whispering pine trees. Locals speak in hushed tones of a chilling phenomenon: the whispering pines, trees that seem to keen and sigh on windless nights, luring those who wander too deep into their silent, shadowed embrace, never to return. The disappearances often coincide with the sudden, inexplicable appearance of stone cairns in the forest, each one seemingly marking a newly claimed soul. Our story begins with Samuel "Sam" O'Connell, a stoic, seasoned logging foreman in his late 40s. Sam isn't seeking timber. He's on a desperate, agonizing search for his son, Thomas, a young, idealistic timber scout who vanished 3 months ago while surveying a newly opened section of the forest bordering Widow's Creek, obsessed with finding a rumored stand of ancient, petrified wood said to possess unusual acoustic properties. All that was found of Thomas was his compass, buried deep in the forest floor, its needles spinning wildly, and a crudely drawn map showing a path leading into an area marked the Heartwood Song. Sam arrives in Widow's Creek, a grim, isolated logging town clinging to the edge of a seemingly endless forest. The few inhabitants are hardened, suspicious lumberjacks and weary, superstitious families who eye outsiders with deep distrust. The old hermit, Mabel "Old Ma" Larkin, a gaunt woman with eyes that have seen too much, warns Sam. The pines claim what they want, O'Connell. They sing for those who listen too close. Your boy. He heard their song, and they took him for their choir. The legend of the Whispering Pines dates back to the early settlers. A group of loggers, driven by greed for the immense ancient trees, ventured too deep into the forest. They were said to have disturbed an ancient, unspoken pact with the land. One moonless night, a strange, silent gale swept through the forest, and when it passed, the loggers were gone, leaving only the mournful sighing of the pines and the unsettling appearance of cairns where they once stood. The trees, it was said, now mourned their presence, but also claimed new souls to fuel their unending lament. Sam, a man who trusts only what he can see and feel, dismisses these tales as frontier superstition. But Thomas's map, marking the Heartwood Song with strange, almost musical notations, gnaws at him. He sets out alone, his axe heavy on his shoulder, his gaze fixed on the foreboding ancient forest. As he ventures cautiously into the whispering woods, the air grows thick with the scent of pine and damp earth. The silence is profound, almost suffocating, broken only by the occasional snap of a twig beneath his boots. Yet, sometimes, when the wind dies down to an unnatural stillness, he hears it, a faint, almost imperceptible humming sound, emanating from the very heart of the towering pines, a low, resonant vibration that seems to sing through the ancient wood itself. One moonless afternoon, as he navigates a particularly dense thicket deep within the Heartwood Song, a sudden, unseasonable mist rolls in, thick and cold, obscuring visibility. Sam stumbles, coughing, trying to regain his bearings. Through the swirling mist, he hears it, clear, distinct, and impossibly close, the mournful, drawn-out sighing of myriad voices, as if thousands of people are exhaling in unison. It's the Whispering Pines, their collective lament filling the air. The sound isn't ethereal, it's tangible, vibrating through his very bones, a deep, sorrowful resonance that fills the forest. Yet, there are no people in sight, no clear source for the voices. The mist disperses as quickly as it appeared, leaving Sam trembling, alone, his ears ringing with the phantom echoes. As he looks around, he sees something he hadn't noticed before. freshly disturbed earth near the base of an ancient, gnarled pine. And beside it, a small, crudely built stone cairn, freshly constructed, its stones still damp with morning dew. Sam stares at the cairn, his heart pounding. The whispering pines were not just a legend, they were a terrifying reality. His son had clearly stumbled upon something ancient and powerful, and the pines were not merely an echo in the wind, they were a chilling summons. The search for Thomas O'Connell had just taken a far more perilous turn, deep into the heart of Widow's Creek's forgotten, haunted forest. The chilling appearance of the fresh stone cairn and the mournful sighing of the whispering pines confirmed Sam's worst fears. Thomas was caught in the forest's grasp. To find his son, Sam had to delve into Thomas's last notes and understand what had lured him into the Heartwood song. Sam returned to Widow's Creek, visibly shaken. Old Malarkin, watching him with knowing eyes, simply said, "The forest shows what it wants you to see, O'Connell. It calls its choir." She then shared an old forgotten fragment of local lore. They say the pines sing not for the dead, but for the unfulfilled dreams. The forest claims those who yearn too deeply for what they can't have, and it leaves a marker for each dream it consumes. Sam then pored over Thomas's scattered notes, the small journal he'd left behind, and the strange musically annotated map marking the Heartwood song. Thomas, usually so grounded, had become increasingly obsessed with the ancient petrified wood found in that specific section of the forest. His later entries spoke of its unusual crystalline structure, capable of amplifying sound, and his theory that the entire stand of petrified trees acted as a giant organic resonator, broadcasting a unique frequency. His most disturbing notes spoke of the humming sound Sam had heard, referring to it as the tree song. Thomas believed it wasn't just a vibration, but a complex series of overlapping frequencies, a lament that resonated with human emotions. He wrote of feeling an overwhelming sense of nostalgia and longing when he listened to it, as if the trees were whispering forgotten memories. He was trying to decipher its melody, convinced it held a profound secret. His final entry, scrawled frantically, sent a chill down Sam's spine. The song, it grows clearer. Not a lament, but a lure. It whispers of what could have been, of lost chances, a better life. The petrified heartwood. It amplifies more than sound. It amplifies desire. And the cairns, they are not graves. They are monuments to lost futures. I hear them now. The old loggers, they didn't just vanish. They chose. They chose the dream. The pines offer perfect oblivion. And Thomas wants to see it. He wants the ancient wood's deepest secret, the truth of the living echo. Sam dropped the journal. Perfect oblivion, monuments to lost futures. Thomas hadn't just gotten lost. He had been seduced by the whispering pines, by the promise of an idealized future, a perfect dream woven into the very fabric of the forest song. The petrified wood, the living echo, wasn't just amplifying sound. It was amplifying the deepest, most unfulfilled desires of human souls, offering an escape into a constructed reality from which there was no return. Sam remembered Thomas's yearning to leave the logging life, his dreams of becoming a musician, of a peaceful life away from the harsh wilderness. The pines were preying on those very dreams. He noticed something else in Thomas's journal, a crudely drawn sketch of a unique pine cone, unlike any he'd seen. It had an unusually rough, almost crystalline surface, with a faint, internal shimmer. Thomas had labeled it, the listener's seed. It was marked on the map as growing near the Heartwood Song. Sam knew he had to return to the Heartwood Song, not just to find Thomas, but to understand the living echo and the terrifying truth of the perfect oblivion the pines offered. He needed to find that unique pine cone. Thomas's last notes were a chilling map, leading Sam not to a physical location, but to the very heart of the forest's psychological trap, where unfulfilled dreams became eternal prisons. Thomas's final chilling notes revealed the true horror of the Whispering Pines. They didn't just take souls, they seduced them with perfect oblivion, amplifying unfulfilled desires through the living echo of the petrified wood. Sam knew he had to enter the Heartwood Song and confront this psychological trap, seeking the unique listener seed Thomas had sketched. Sam ventured back into the Heartwood Song, the section of the forest where the pines grew impossibly tall, their branches interlocked, forming a dense, perpetual twilight. The air was thick with the pervasive hum Thomas had called the tree song, now a palpable vibration that seemed to resonate directly with his own unspoken anxieties and regrets. The sweet, cloying scent of pine needles was almost overwhelming, deepening his sense of disorientation. As he walked, the silence of the forest was absolute, broken only by the sighing of the pines, now a chorus of distinct, fragmented whispers. They seemed to speak directly to his deepest fears. The axe. It took everything. Should have chosen differently. Too late, too much regret. These were the echoes of the pines feeding on his own anxieties, attempting to lure him into their perfect oblivion. He consulted Thomas's map, which marked specific ancient trees with strange, almost glowing symbols. These were the petrified trees, the living echo. They didn't look like ordinary wood. Their bark had a glassy, almost crystalline sheen, and their branches seemed to shimmer faintly with an internal light. As Sam touched one, he felt an intense surge of emotion, a fleeting vision of Thomas, young and hopeful, playing a guitar, his face filled with unfulfilled longing. Following the map's most cryptic markings, and guided by the intensifying whispers, Sam finally arrived at the heart of the Heartwood Song. It was a clearing, unnaturally symmetrical, ringed by colossal, ancient petrified pine trees. Their polished, crystalline surfaces shimmered with a soft, internal opalescent glow, pulsing gently like a slow, immense heartbeat. The tree song here was deafening, a powerful, multi-layered hum that resonated deep within his chest, making his bones vibrate. In the very center of the clearing, at the base of the largest petrified pine, was a small, gnarled sapling, its needles radiating the same opalescent glow. And nestled among its branches were several of the unique listener seeds, the crystalline pine cones Thomas had sketched. They were unlike any pine cone Sam had ever seen, perfectly formed, smooth and shimmering with an inner light, humming with a distinct, almost musical resonance. As Sam reached for a listener seed, the whispers intensified, morphing into a seductive chorus of thousands of voices, all speaking his name: Samuel, join us, peace, release, no more pain, perfect understanding, your son. He is here. He found his dream. The voices were not threatening. They were overwhelmingly comforting, promising an end to all his sorrows, an escape into a beautiful manufactured reality. He felt an irresistible pull towards the glow, towards the promise of oblivion. Then, from the shimmering bark of the colossal petrified pines, distorted, translucent figures began to materialize. They were the lost loggers, their forms vague and shimmering, their faces serene, almost blissful, their eyes empty. They were swaying gently to the tree song, seemingly content in their eternal, dream-filled state. They were the choir old Malarkin had spoken of, the souls consumed by the pines. And then Sam saw him, standing amidst the spectral loggers, his form translucent and bathed in the opalescent glow. A look of profound ethereal peace on his face was Thomas O'Connell. He was holding a spectral guitar, strumming silent, blissful chords, completely oblivious to Sam's presence. He was living his unfulfilled dream, a prisoner of the Heartwood song, a silent, joyful echo in the perfect oblivion of the whispering pines. Sam stared at his son, his heart aching. He realized the true horror. Thomas wasn't just lost. He was contentedly trapped, seduced by a beautiful lie. To save him, Sam couldn't just pull him out. He had to break the illusion, disrupt the tree song, and shatter the perfect oblivion that held his son captive in the terrifying living prison of the whispering pines. The listener's seed, humming in his trembling hand, was the key to this unsettling harmony, but he had to use it to wake Thomas, not join him. Thomas O'Connell, enveloped in the opalescent glow of the petrified pines, strummed a spectral guitar, lost in a perfect oblivion. Sam understood. The whispering pines weren't just a force of nature. They were a dream weaver, creating an illusion of fulfilled desires, a beautiful prison. The listener's seed pulsed in Sam's hand, a key to this unsettling harmony. To free Thomas, Sam had to shatter the illusion, disrupt the tree song, and confront the very essence of the pine's seductive power. Sam backed away from the entranced Thomas, clutching the listener's seed. The collective sighing of the pines, the tree song, grew louder, a soothing, hypnotic chorus that threatened to pull Sam into his own regrets. He fought against it, forcing himself to remember Thomas's real dreams, the ones that existed outside this fabricated paradise. He recalled Thomas's early letters, filled with frustrations about the logging life, but also vivid descriptions of a childhood ambition to build a musical instrument from reclaimed wood, something that could truly capture the soul of the forest. Thomas believed that wood held memories, and that a properly crafted instrument could sing those memories. This was the true dream, not the ethereal guitar. Sam, though a logger, had always supported Thomas's artistic leanings. He remembered a specific type of aged, resonant cedar Thomas had once discovered, wood that rang with a unique clarity when tapped. Thomas had intended to use it for his instrument, but it had been lost when a section of the forest was felled. Old Malarkin's words echoed in his mind. The forest claims those who yearn too deeply for what they can't have. The pines were not just creating an illusion. They were feeding on the unfulfilled potential of those they trapped, transforming their deepest longings into a perpetual, blissful torment. The cairns were not just markers. They were monuments to lives that never were. Sam knew that the listener's seed, with its unique acoustic properties, was the counterforce. Thomas's own fascination with sound, now twisted into his prison, could be the very tool for his release. The listener's seed, Thomas's own creation, held the key to breaking the dream. He examined the listener's seed closely. It was not just a pine cone, it was a crystalline resonator. If the petrified pines amplified desire, perhaps the listener's seed could amplify truth, or a specific counter-frequency that would disrupt the tree song. As Sam stood in the clearing, considering his next move, the shimmering forms of the lost loggers began to solidify, their blank, blissful expressions turning subtly. Their collective sighing shifted, becoming a low, resonant moan, almost a warning. They were becoming aware of Sam's disruption, their manufactured peace threatened. Their forms began to drift towards him, slowly, silently, like sleepwalkers, their empty eyes fixed on the listener's seed. Then, a new presence emerged from the heart of the largest petrified pine. Not a physical form, but a dense, swirling cloud of opalescent light, emanating a profound, ancient sadness. It was the collective consciousness of the whispering pines, the dream weaver itself, sensing Sam's intent. Its voice resonated directly into his mind, a mournful, powerful presence. The boy is ours. He is happy. Leave him. Join him. Surrender to the song. We offer peace. No pain, only dreams. The words were a seductive torrent, attempting to envelop Sam in his own regrets, to lure him into the perfect oblivion. Sam knew he had to act fast. He remembered Thomas's fascination with specific resonant frequencies. He took out his own small, sturdy logging hammer. He looked at the listener's seed, then at the glowing, petrified pines. He had to create a sound that would cut through the dream weaver's illusion, a frequency that would shatter the tree song. He had to wake Thomas, not just from a dream, but from a terrifying, blissful death. He held the listener's seed, his hammer poised, ready to strike the heart of the dream weaver's prison. The opalescent cloud, the collective consciousness of the whispering pines, pulsed with ancient power, its mournful voice echoing in Sam's mind, "The boy is ours, surrender to the song." The spectral loggers, their eyes empty but their forms becoming more solid, drifted closer. Sam knew this was the decisive moment. He had to use the listener's seed to create a resonant strike that would shatter the pine's illusion and wake Thomas from his dream-filled prison. Sam clutched the listener's seed, its crystalline surface cool and smooth in his trembling hand. He remembered Thomas's specific fascination with the concept of disruptive frequencies, a unique sound that could break down a harmonic resonance. The tree song, though powerful, was a manufactured harmony, a beautiful lie. The listener's seed, a product of the same ancient wood, held the key to its disruption. He ignored the seductive whispers, the approaching spectral figures. He thought of Thomas, of his real laughter, his real dreams, the life he had yet to live. This wasn't about oblivion. It was about life. Sam found a section of the largest petrified pine, where the opalescent glow seemed strongest. This was the heart of the living echo, the core of the dream weaver's power. He raised his heavy logging hammer, his hand steady despite the vibrations coursing through him. He gently placed the listener's seed against the shimmering bark of the petrified pine. The seed hummed intensely, its resonance intertwining with the tree song. Then, with a surge of desperate resolve, Sam brought his hammer down, striking the listener's seed against the tree. A deafening, jarring crack reverberated through the clearing, a sound completely alien to the forest's oppressive silence. It was followed by a sharp, high-pitched whine that cut through the mournful sighing of the pines. This was the disruptive frequency, amplified by the listener's seed, shattering the harmonious illusion. The opalescent cloud of the dream weaver recoiled, its form flickering violently, its soothing whispers replaced by a sudden jarring scream of agony. Not a human scream, but a profound, ancient wail of something immense and powerful being disrupted. The spectral loggers, who had been drifting closer, suddenly convulsed. Their blissful expressions twisted into masks of agony, their translucent forms dissolving and reforming rapidly. The spectral guitar in Thomas's hands wavered, then vanished. Sam continued to strike the listener's seed against the petrified tree, each impact sending a jarring shockwave of sound through the clearing. The tree song, which had been so powerful, began to fracture, its harmonious layers breaking apart into discordant, agonizing wails. The opalescent glow of the petrified pines flickered, dimming erratically. The dream weaver, realizing its prison was being dismantled, manifested more clearly. A vast, swirling vortex of light and shadow within the heart of the largest tree, its form shifting and reforming, attempting to resist the resonant assault. It desperately tried to rebuild the illusion, to re-establish the tree song, but Sam's relentless strikes were tearing it apart. Then, Thomas convulsed again, more violently this time. His eyes, which had been empty, suddenly snapped open, wide with terror and confusion. He looked around, seeing not the perfect dream, but the fading opalescent glow, the dissolving spectral loggers, and his father grim-faced, striking the tree. The illusion was breaking. As Sam delivered one final powerful blow, the listener's seed shattered into 1,000 glittering fragments, scattering across the clearing. The largest petrified pine, the heart of the dream weaver, pulsed violently, then its opalescent glow extinguished completely, leaving it a dull, lifeless stone. The scream of the dream weaver died into a mournful sigh, then a chilling silence. The spectral loggers vanished entirely. The air in the clearing, once thick with the scent of illusion, was now clear and cold. Thomas, no longer translucent, collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath, his eyes fixed on Sam. He was awake. He was real. The dream weaver's prison had been shattered by the resonant strike, and Thomas O'Connell was finally returned from the perfect oblivion of the whispering pines. But the question remained, what had truly been released, and what new echoes would now fill the silence of the pines? The sudden chilling silence in the Heartwood song clearing was deafening after the violent crescendo of the resonant strike. The dream weaver was gone, its seductive opalescent glow extinguished, and the petrified pines stood as stark, lifeless monuments. Thomas lay on the ground, gasping for air, his eyes wide with a dawning horror of what he had experienced. Sam's heart pounded, a mixture of relief and lingering dread. They had shattered the illusion, but the consequences of unraveling such an ancient, powerful entity were yet to be fully understood. As Sam helped Thomas to his feet, a wave of subtle, disorienting sensations washed over them. The air around the now inert petrified trees shimmered faintly, and fleeting, almost imperceptible whispers brushed past their ears. They weren't the seductive lures of the tree song, but fragmented melancholic echoes of lost emotions. A sudden surge of regret, a pang of forgotten joy, a ghost of a desperate longing. These were the unraveling echoes of the countless souls who had been bound within the dream weaver, their individual emotional imprints now free but unmoored, searching for release. Thomas, sensitive to these subtle energies, shivered. They're still here, Father. Not trapped in dreams, but restless. Their longing isn't gone, it's just unbound. He looked at the shattered fragments of the listener's seed on the ground, then back at the dull, petrified wood. The listener's seed was a key, but it was also a bridge. It connected to their dreams. Now that it's broken, they're adrift. Sam looked at the ground where the cairns had been. The earth was still disturbed, but no new cairns had formed. Instead, he saw faint, almost luminous wisps of mist rising from the soil, spiraling gently upwards before dissipating into the forest canopy. Each wisp carried a fragment of that disorienting emotion. These were the physical remnants of the souls, finally beginning to dissipate, to return to the natural cycle of the land. They slowly began to make their way out of the clearing, the weight of the new silence almost as oppressive as the former song. As they left the Heartwood song, The whispers of fragmented emotions grew fainter, eventually fading entirely as they reached the less affected parts of the forest. When they arrived back at Widow's Creek, old Ma Larkin was waiting, her eyes keenly observing them. She took one look at Thomas, no longer serenely blissful but haunted, and then at Sam's grim face. "The pines are quiet now, aren't they, O'Connell? You broke the song. But the echoes, they linger. The forest remembers its burdens, even when they're lifted." She explained that breaking such a powerful ancient enchantment rarely meant instant oblivion for the bound souls. Instead, it often led to a period of unraveling, where the fragmented spiritual energies gradually dissipated, returning to the Earth's natural cycle. This process, she warned, could take time, and some residual echoes might remain, acting as a final testament to the forest's profound spiritual memory. Thomas, despite his newfound freedom, bore the deep psychological scars of his perfect oblivion. He found it difficult to reconcile his idealized dream world with the harsh realities of life. He grappled with a profound sense of loss, not for the dream itself, but for the peaceful state of oblivion it offered. He began to draw detailed sketches of the fragmented whispers he heard, trying to give form to the lingering emotions, almost as a way to help them find their final rest. Sam knew their ordeal wasn't truly over. While Thomas was physically free, his spirit remained touched by the pine's magic. And the forest, though silent, was still processing the profound change, shedding the layers of sorrow and unfulfilled dreams it had carried for so long. The whispering pines were no longer a living prison, but they were still a place of raw, unraveled echoes, and Sam knew he had to help Thomas find a way to navigate this new, spectral landscape, to truly heal from the whispers of oblivion. The silence in the Heartwood song clearing was profound, broken only by Thomas O'Connell's ragged breaths. The dream weaver was vanquished, its opalescent glow extinguished, and the petrified pines now stood as dull, lifeless stone. The listener's seed lay shattered. Sam had shattered the illusion, freed his son, and severed the pine's hold. But the abrupt silence felt heavy, pregnant with the unburdened echo of what had been trapped. Sam knelt beside Thomas, embracing his son tightly. "Thomas, you're back. You're safe." Thomas coughed, his body trembling, slowly regaining his senses. "Father, the song, the dreams, it was so real, and the voices, they were everywhere. It felt so good to forget." He shuddered. "What happened? Where are they?" He looked around, seeing only the stark, dead, petrified trees. Sam explained how the listener's seed had shattered the illusion. Thomas, understanding, looked at the dull, lifeless, petrified trees. "It wasn't just a song, Father. It was a shared consciousness. The pines, they consumed the hopes and dreams of those they took, binding them into their own being. They became the dreams. And the cairns, they were where the physical bodies dissolved, leaving only the spirit bound to the dream." The terrifying truth dawned on Sam. The pines didn't just lull souls to sleep. They integrated them, absorbing their unfulfilled desires to fuel their own spectral existence. By shattering the illusion, Sam hadn't just woken Thomas. He had liberated countless trapped souls from a blissful, eternal torment. The pines were no longer whispering their seductive song. They were silent, unburdened. As they began to make their way out of the clearing, a subtle, ethereal phenomenon occurred. From the very ground where the stone cairns had stood, a faint, almost transparent mist began to rise. It wasn't the cold, obscuring mist of the pine's illusion, but a warm, shimmering haze. Within the mist, faint, fleeting human forms could be seen, flickering like old photographs, their faces serene, not blissful, but peaceful. They were the lost loggers, the victims of the pines, their souls finally released from the dream weaver's prison. The figures drifted gently upwards, dissipating into the sunlight, their farewell a silent, grateful acknowledgement. The whispering pines around them, no longer singing their siren song, felt different. The air was cleaner, lighter, and the oppressive silence was replaced by the natural sounds of the forest. The rustle of real leaves, the chirping of unseen birds. The trees, though still ancient and vast, felt less menacing, more like silent, benevolent guardians. Sam and Thomas eventually made their way back to Widow's Creek. Old Ma Larkin, seeing Thomas alive and whole, simply smiled, a rare, gentle expression. The forest released its burden, O'Connell. The dead can finally rest. You broke the cycle. News of Thomas's return and the sudden end of the disappearances spread. The eerie silence of the whispering pines was replaced by an almost palpable sense of peace. The lumberjacks, though wary, noticed the difference. The strange hum was gone, the unsettling mist no longer rolled in without warning. The forest, once a place of dread, now simply felt ancient and quiet. Thomas, profoundly changed by his experience, abandoned his dreams of a musical career to pursue a deeper calling. He became a self-taught ethnobotanist, dedicating his life to understanding the symbiotic relationships between ancient forests and human folklore. He documented the unique properties of the petrified wood, not as a source of amplified sound, but as a silent recorder of the land's history and the spiritual echoes of those who lived and died within it. He carried the unburdened echo of his time in the pines, a constant reminder of the unseen life that permeated the natural world. Sam, too, found a quiet peace. He continued logging, but with a newfound reverence for the trees, always ensuring to leave certain ancient stands undisturbed, understanding that some parts of the forest were meant to remain wild and untouched. He had faced the impossible and brought his son back, and in doing so, had played a part in liberating countless souls. The whispering pines of Widow's Creek, once a symbol of terrifying allure, now stood as a testament to a haunting overcome, its profound silence a blessing of release, forever holding the unburdened echoes of countless dreams finally laid to rest. Decades passed. Widow's Creek, like many remote logging towns, slowly dwindled, its sawmills falling silent, its structures yielding to the relentless embrace of the forest. The logging industry, though still present, approached the area with a new, unspoken reverence. The terrifying legend of the whispering pines softened, becoming a cautionary tale of respecting the wild, a distant memory of a haunting that had finally found peace. Yet, the forest, in its profound quietude, continued to be watched over by its silent keepers. Thomas O'Connell became a respected, albeit unconventional, scholar of natural history and folklore. His theories on the spiritual memory of ancient forests, once dismissed, gained traction in scientific circles. He published extensive works on the symbiotic relationship between human desires and natural phenomena, detailing the unique properties of the petrified wood in The Heartwood Song, not as a conduit for malicious spirits, but as a record keeper of profound human longing. He often returned to the now tranquil clearing, listening not for a song, but for the profound silence, the unburdened echo of liberated souls. Sam O'Connell lived out his years in quiet contemplation, often spending his days walking among the ancient pines, a silent sentinel. He never spoke much of his ordeal, but his eyes held a depth of understanding that few possessed. He had seen the veil between worlds, had fought for his son, and had witnessed the release of countless souls. He became the living embodiment of the respect the forest demanded, ensuring that no one disturbed the quiet peace he had helped secure. The whispering pines, though still immense and imposing, no longer emanated the seductive hum or the mournful sighs. The unsettling mists ceased to roll in without warning. The air in the Heartwood song clearing was crisp and clean, imbued with a palpable sense of peace. The stone cairns, once markers of consumed dreams, slowly eroded back into the earth, their purpose fulfilled, their ghostly occupants finally at rest. The forest now held a profound, almost sacred stillness. Hikers and naturalists who ventured into its depths reported a unique sense of clarity and spiritual calm. They spoke of feeling an overwhelming sense of ancient wisdom emanating from the colossal trees, a quiet presence that seemed to watch over them without judgment. These were the silent keepers, the very pines themselves, no longer cursed, but restored to their original role as ancient protectors of the land's deepest secrets. The living echo of the petrified wood, once a tool for illusion, now simply resonated with the profound history of the earth, its crystalline structure holding the silent stories of millennia, awaiting a respectful ear. The listener's seed, shattered in the climactic moment, became a symbol of necessary sacrifice for profound liberation. The story of the whispering pines of Widow's Creek became a testament to the powerful, often unseen, forces that reside within the natural world. It was a tale of human greed and ambition disturbing an ancient pact, and of a father's unwavering love breaking a cycle of sorrow and illusion. The forest, once a place of chilling allure, transformed into a sanctuary of profound quietude, its silent embrace a powerful reminder of the delicate balance between humanity and the enduring spirit of the wild. Thomas and Sam O'Connell, forever bound by their extraordinary experience, continued their unique paths, their lives intertwined with the ancient wisdom of the quiet forest. They knew that the whispering pines, now in their serene embrace, would forever stand as silent keepers, guardians of an ancient peace, their once terrifying song replaced by a profound, unbroken silence. As the decades turned into a new century, the whispering pines of Widow's Creek became more myth than memory for most. The old logging roads faded, and the remnants of Widow's Creek town became ghost structures, swallowed by the relentless green of the forest. Thomas O'Connell's work, bridging science and folklore, gained quiet respect, and he established a small private research foundation dedicated to spiritual ecology. His focus shifted to the interconnectedness of all natural life, particularly the concept of the root of memory, the idea that ancient forests held the collective consciousness and history of the land itself. Thomas, now an old man, often returned to the Heartwood song clearing, no longer to confront a haunting, but to conduct quiet observations. He spent hours with his instruments, not seeking specific frequencies, but listening to the profound silence, believing that the petrified pines, though inert, still held a dormant resonance. He theorized that these ancient trees, acting as immense geological archives, recorded the emotional imprints of past events, particularly those of great intensity or unfulfilled potential. The tree song had been a manifestation of these trapped memories, twisted by the dream weaver into a deceptive lure. He discovered that the area around the petrified trees still exhibited minute, almost imperceptible bioelectrical fluctuations that defied conventional scientific explanation. He believed these fluctuations were the lingering energetic signatures of the liberated souls, an unburdened echo that had settled back into the forest's natural cycle, enriching the land. He documented how certain specific native plants seemed to thrive uniquely around the petrified wood, almost as if drawing sustenance from this ancient memory. Sam O'Connell had long since passed, but his legacy lived on through Thomas's work. Thomas often spoke of his father's bravery, not just in confronting the dream weaver, but in teaching him the profound respect for the forest that ultimately allowed them to break the curse. Sam's pragmatic approach, combined with Thomas's idealistic curiosity, had forged a unique bond that resonated with the very spirit of the pines. The stone cairns had completely disappeared, their rocks sinking back into the earth, their purpose fulfilled. The forest, once prone to unnatural mists and eerie stillness, now simply felt ancient, vast, and profoundly peaceful. Birds sang, and deer roamed freely, unbothered by the lingering spectral presences. The local indigenous tribes, who had always maintained a respectful distance, now occasionally ventured deeper into the Heartwood song, conducting quiet, reverent ceremonies, acknowledging the restored balance. Thomas often pondered the true nature of the dream weaver. Was it a malevolent entity, or simply an ancient force of nature, corrupted by human greed and unfulfilled longing? He came to believe it was closer to the latter, a powerful, primal consciousness of the forest, inadvertently twisted into a sinister entity by the overwhelming burden of consumed dreams. His father's resonant strike with the listener's seed hadn't destroyed it, but purified it, returning it to its original benevolent state as a silent keeper. The story of the Whispering Pines of Widow's Creek, passed down through generations of O'Connells and a few trusted scholars, became a testament to the profound living nature of the wild. It taught that forests were not just collections of trees, but vast, interconnected ecosystems of physical and spiritual energy, holding a deep root of memory. And that true understanding came not from exploitation, but from reverence, allowing the land to hold its ancient secrets in a state of quiet, enduring peace. The once haunted pines now stood as colossal monuments, not to lost souls, but to the enduring power of nature and the quiet strength of healing and balance. Today, the region once known as Widow's Creek is an unmarked wilderness, its lumber industry long defunct, its memory existing only in forgotten archives. The towering whispering pines dominate the landscape, their green canopies stretching endlessly towards the horizon. The chilling legends of their mournful sighs have largely vanished, replaced by the natural sounds of wind through branches and the rustle of forest life. Yet, for those who seek true solitude, who venture deep into the remnants of the Heartwood song, a profound, almost spiritual experience awaits. The ancient petrified trees, now dull and stony, still stand as silent sentinels, holding the root of memory. Visitors often report an overwhelming sense of peace and a clarity of thought in the clearing, a feeling of deep connection to the ancient earth. Some describe a faint, almost imperceptible humming emanating from the very ground, a low, comforting vibration that resonates through their bodies, a gentle evergreen lullaby. This isn't the seductive, sorrowful hum of the former dream weaver, but the pure, benevolent resonance of the forest's restored balance. It is the unburdened echo of countless souls finally at rest, their memories returned to the earth, nourishing the very ground where they once suffered. The stone cairns are long gone, dissolved into the forest floor, a testament to their purpose fulfilled. The listener's seed, shattered in the climax of Sam's rescue, remains a powerful symbol within the O'Connell family lore, a reminder that even the smallest, seemingly insignificant elements of nature can hold immense power for both destruction and healing. The dream weaver, once a terrifying entity, is now understood not as a malevolent force, but as the raw, unfiltered consciousness of the ancient pines, its powerful empathy for unfulfilled dreams now expressed as a soothing, protective presence. The enduring legacy of Sam and Thomas O'Connell and Old Ma Larkin is woven into the very fabric of this forest. They taught that the earth breathes, remembers, and can heal, even from profound wounds inflicted by human greed and despair. Their story, though whispered now only among a few, stands as a profound testament to the power of love, sacrifice, and the deep, often unseen connection between human spirit and the ancient spirit of the land. The whispering pines of Widow's Creek, no longer bound by tragedy or haunted by sorrow, stand tall and serene, their branches swaying gently in the wind, humming a constant, soft, evergreen lullaby. They are the silent, steadfast guardians of an ancient peace, their vast green embrace a testament to life, memory, and the enduring harmony of a forest finally at rest.